John here responding to your post, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I appreciate that you brought into the conversation the idea of the psyche, in particular the Freudian theory on the three components of the personality: the id, the ego, and the superego. Now, to be honest with you, when I began my psychological and theological journey, I swiftly discarded Freud as a lunatic with some crazy ideas about human development and personality. However, now I do find some value in some of his theories, though most of them are based on conjecture and are not supported empirically. But as a theologian, I was always curious about the role theology might have played in his life. I know that he was a proud and self proclaimed atheist who saw religion as an illusion, an expression of some underlying psychological neurosis or distress. But I am almost convinced that his treatment of the id, the ego, and superego was influenced some way or the other by some exposure to religion. Now, I found no proof of this in his work or in his writing, but I do know that he was born Jewish, so who knows, right? In any event, when I consider his theory on the personality, it seems grounded to some extent in some kind of knowledge of biblical doctrine, especially on the depravity of man. So I don't believe his ideas are novel in any way, even though he would not wish to admit it. We know that he says that the id is ruled by pleasure. And this is quite similar to what the Bible describes as the sinful nature. And then we have the ego, which can be described as a person's sense of self, self-identity, self-perception. And this self-perception, when regarded through the lens of Scripture, really is in relation to God's plan for our lives and where we fit into this plan and purpose. And then we have the ego, which is aligned to the conscience, our God-given conscience. And this is where the battle is waged between our old sinful nature and our godly nature. So I'm not saying that his intentions, were to teach or preach biblical truth. He'd probably roll over his grave, as it were, at the very notion of it. But the connections are undeniable. Now, we know that when we consider his theory, all in all, he claimed that it was this self-awareness and ego strength that, when they are strong enough, make us healthy. And we know better. We know that true health, true purpose, through true happiness comes through the work of Jesus Christ and through his grace. But his theory, to me, really seems grounded in theology. What are your thoughts on that? God bless you.